Hey, this is Ina, with you in the Fight Back. Today I want to briefly talk about Herbert Marcuse's The One-Dimensional Man, which was published in 1964. Now, Marcuse was a German philosopher closely associated with the Frankfurt School. These were kind of radical intellectuals, and they included some alumni such as Erich Fromm, Max Horkheimer, Theodor Adorno, and Walter Benjamin, just to name a few. And they're kind of radical Hegelians. They did a lot of stuff with culture, and Marcuse was definitely on the more Marxist wing of this school. That's not to say the others weren't or didn't have Marxist tendencies. And Marcuse was involved in the revolution in Germany following World War I, and with the rise of Hitler, he came to the United States. In his book, The One-Dimensional Man, it was a critique of contemporary capitalism, and there's a critique of the Soviet Union in there as well. Now, I read this book a long time ago, and I kind of found some notes and stuff on it. So this isn't going to be quite comprehensive, just some of the themes. But before I read it, I kind of was wary because if you're brought up or you've dealt with the radical orthodox Trotskyists or Maoists, I'm talking the real orthodox kinds here, who tolerate no deviancy. The Frankfurt School is not seen as a revolutionary school, kind of maybe petty bourgeois. It's kind of something that gets dismissed, and the truth is it gets dismissed way too easily. And I do have a certain critique of Marcuse's work, but this is a book that you absolutely should read. And the one-dimensional idea of the book, where the title comes from, it's this one-dimensional thought, behavior, where you can't really have the ability for critical thought and opposition because of the climate you live in, where people are integrated into the advanced industrial societies or the affluent societies that create false needs through advertising, consumerism, the media, industrial management, and all of this. And this one-dimensional thought is, of course, leading to the integration of the proletariat into capitalist society, which kind of brings about capitalist stabilization. I think Marcuse is definitely a product of his time. Certainly by the mid-60s in the United States, the proletariat very much appears to be integrated, and even in many Western capitalist nations as well. But just a few years later, we would have May 68, we'd have the great upsurges of labor in Britain and Italy. Perhaps a little overdone, but I understand where he's coming from, because after World War II, you definitely have at least, certainly in the United States, you pretty much have the left driven out of labor. And one thing, this integration of the proletariat, or even just opposition in general, a lot of what Marcuse is looking at, and this is pretty much where I just want to focus on, is consumerism. It's social control. Even though it claims to be democratic, like, you watch a commercial, you see, you have all these choices. But it's not democratic, because these advertisers are huge corporations. They're the rich and the powerful bourgeoisie, and they're allowing us certain choices. Buy a Toyota as opposed to a Fiat or something. And this consumerism, especially now with politics, you have the choice between hope and change or taxed enough already. I mean, it's a false choice. It's really a state of unfreedom, a social control. And this causes us to act irrationally, and it creates all sorts of false needs. Because if you buy certain products, for instance, I'm going to kind of hit on do something I really don't want to do, but if you collect action figures, and I know people who do, think about all the stuff that goes into the action figure. It's just kind of, for, let's say, Transformers, a movie that was utterly crap. You have the false needs created by, say, the Transformers film. to buy all the products associated with the action figures and the posters. And of course that creates the advertising industry, the production of these toys, and the fact that a lot of what they're produced with is like all this junk products that's going to damage the environment. And none of this is really fulfilling basic needs. It has almost destructive effects, because a lot of these toys and crap from, say, Transformers or the Star Wars prequels, another set of crap, you know, it's like you're looking for satisfaction through buying this stuff, or a car and such, and perhaps you're working extra hours, so I can buy that new car, or I can buy those action figures. I'm not saying necessarily that action figures are a bad thing, but if you look at like the production for major films like Transformers or Star Wars, you can definitely see that they're trying to create these needs in you. And you also have, with the creation of products, is you have, with new products and new needs, you need to get rid of old products. For instance, the computer I'm using right now, I'm absolutely certain it's out of date. I'm certain it's obsolete, and I need to get a new one, even though it's less than a year old. And of course, to get rid of those products that's going to damage the environment again, and you need to have new products, you need to have new cars. Really, what's the difference so much between a 2010 Toyota and a 2009? The color, maybe? The commercials? And so you need to work and more to buy more. And think about it, you're working so you can buy more of these false needs, and it's kind of like degrading your humanity. It's definitely a form of alienation, and Marcuse was big on Marx's alienation. You're just integrated into this whole machine. You're enmeshed into society. You may believe the bourgeoisie are scum. You may want the rich, driven from power. But if you're still buying into this, you're still integrated, even if you're a worker. And of course, this whole consumer society, you're more concerned about fulfilling your own false needs than any form of social connections with those around you. Now, Marcuse, I think, is a little pessimistic because he kind of dismisses a lot of the proletariat really, if it's integrated, it really can't fight back. But he does look to minorities, outsiders, and the radical intelligentsia, and I believe also the third world. And yeah, he makes some great points. Marcuse is so pertinent. And the truth is, if you've watched this channel, I may be a very unorthodox Maoist, but Trotskyists are welcome here, anarchists are welcome here, Stalinists are welcome here. I just urge a respectful debate, as all. And you should pick this book up, and it's an incredible read. At times, it's a little hard to read, but as you know, with great effort comes great reward. And this is Ina. Until next time.